everyone, it is Dr. Nurse Tutor. I am back with another practice question. A student that I previously had in pathophysiology has now ventured off into adult health, and the request is that I provide an acid-base imbalance question without the numbers. They want to be able to understand how to rationalize with just the appearance and not the actual ABGs. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question, and we're going to break down and rationalize this question together. It says a 35-year-old female is brought to the emergency department after a syncopal episode at home. Syncopal means she passed out. The client has been fasting for 12 hours and has ketones in the urine. Which acid-base imbalance would the nurse expect to assess in this type of a patient? That is something that we do need to think about, especially with the key word is ketones. The key word that you should be thinking about is ketones. And the reason why we need to be thinking about ketones is because we're not supposed to see ketones, right? So understanding why ketones is important is what's going to help you to understand what the acid-base imbalance is. Now, someone who has been fasting for 12 hours, if you've been fasting, that means you have not been eating. If you have not been eating, you don't have things like carbs. If you remember from pathophysiology, when we break foods down, the first thing that we break down is carbs. Carbs is usually broken down in your mouth by mastication, by masticating, chewing. That's when we start to break down carbohydrates and sugars. That's the first thing that we break down. So if someone has been fasting for over 12 hours, they have probably depleted the carbohydrates, that sugar, in their bloodstream. So the body has no way of breaking down sugar because there's no sugar in the bloodstream. So what's going to happen is your body is going to start to break down the next best thing as a source of energy. You only got two other things left. You have proteins and you have fats. Proteins are usually the next source of energy that your body is going to start to feed off of. So your body is going to start to break down and metabolize proteins. When proteins are metabolized, they turn into acids. And when they're metabolized, they turn into metabolic acids. The reason why your body is feeding off of that protein is because if you don't have any carbs and you're fasting and you've depleted all your carbs, your body freaks out. And your body will go into starvation mode. That's what happens when you're fasting, and it's going to go to the next source of nutrients, the next source of energy, which is going to be proteins. Your body will start to use proteins as a source of energy, and the breakdown and the waste of proteins is metabolic acids. So you're going to have metabolic acids that will show up in your bloodstream, and that is due to you not having any carbs for your body to use as fuel. So those metabolic acids is what's going to show up as ketones in your urine. And those ketones in that metabolic acid is what's going to lead to metabolic acidosis. That's literally your body using proteins to break down as a source of energy because you've been fasting for so long and there's no carbohydrates to use as energy. So your body's going to start to break down proteins. The proteins are going to show up as ketones in your urine. Your kidneys are going to start to filter out that protein, and it's going to show up as metabolic acids, which means your patient will be at risk for metabolic acidosis. So I hope that makes sense. This one wasn't really too hard of a question. You really just have to understand that if someone has been fasting for a very long time, they have depleted carbohydrates out of their bloodstream. First thing that we break down is carbohydrates by chewing, mastication. If you haven't eaten in over 12 hours, you probably have depleted all the carbohydrates in your bloodstream. So your body is going to go to the next best thing. It's going to start to break down proteins, which is going to lead to metabolic acids and ketones in your urine, which will let you know that we're going through metabolic acidosis. All right, so that's the breakdown. If you would like more acid-base imbalance questions, let me know. I have different scenarios and we can go over it. But that's it for now. So I will see you guys when I come up with another question or you give me more ideas. All right, so it is Dr. Nurse Tutor, and I will see you guys until next time.